between a view and a controller using JavaFX. And specifically, we're going to look at the null pointer exception and one of the main causes of it. So to do that, I'm going to create a new empty fxml file, and we'll just call it the error demo. And we'll use the Java controller. Okay, so when we do this, it automatically creates two files. One's called errordemo.fxml and errordemo controller. And if I let's just create something real simple in our view here. So let's just throw something in, maybe a text field. There we go. And the prompt text will say, enter your name. Something like that. Let's see. And then what we're going to do is we want to access that. So a typical approach to that is you say, great, okay, well, we have our fxml, we put a private instance variable here, and we'll call it, the name text. Oops. Do our imports. And a great way to do the imports with these, if you do Control-Shift-I, it'll bring up all of its recommendations. So for fxml, it's going to choose this particular class, and for the text field, it's going to go JavaFX scene.control text field. So that looks good. You can also see the other ones, see the AWT ones there. Don't choose that. That's a whole other series of challenges. All right. And then maybe in the initialize, let's see here. We don't even need to do anything more. So if we go to launch this, let me just pull up a skeleton here. So what we're going to do is we load our, I called it error demo.fxml file. So when I go to run this file, right? So my let's see, there we go. So right now I don't have any syntax errors, but I'm going to get a runtime exception, and or maybe I'm not. What's going on? Why didn't that blow up? Maybe because I haven't tried to access that. So let's, in our initialize method, we could say name text field set text to prep. Okay. So it all makes sense. It all looks good here in the sense that we've got an fx ID defined. We're using it to set the name, and when we run the file, oh my goodness, we get this whole sea of red. And if you're new to programming or somewhat new to JavaFX, this is a wildly intimidating thing to look at. Where do you even start? But what you do is you scroll to the bottom of this mess, and you start going through it, and you look for the files that you actually created, right? And here I can see I created this file. It's called the error demo controller. And I got a null pointer exception on line 25. So let's look at line 25. This is where I tried to set the name of this text field. So what this is telling me is that this object is set to null. I've never initialized it. Now with JavaFX, a lot of the times what's actually happened here is the view is where it gets initialized. So if I go into my view and I click on this, this needs to have an FX ID to link it to that controller. So I click on code, and you can see here I have a drop-down box for name text field, right? Which is the same name that we gave it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the name text field. Let's see. So now this has, wait a minute, did I put this on the wrong? Oh, I put it on the anchor pane. Oh, Don't want that. That'll cause a different error. So let's choose our thing. Here we go. Hit save. And now when we go back and we try to run our file, our main here, now it's going to launch. Okay, so that's the null pointer exception. So in your controller, if you've defined any items here, it's going to show up. Or it needs to also be defined in the view. And if you look at the view, you can see from a code perspective how it's done it. Let's edit this. You can see in here that text field. See here, it says FX ID. Let me zoom in for you. It says the FX ID equals name text field. If I go back into my view and get rid of that, and now if we look at that, you see how it no longer shows the FX ID? That FX ID is what links it and initializes it. So without it, you're going to get a null pointer exception because you've defined an object, but you haven't linked it to anything. You haven't given it a value. So that's the null pointer exception when you're looking at JavaFX, at least one of the main causes of it.